What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing the second head-to-head ever on this channel. The first head-to-head I did was a Pedi versus a Yanagiba versus Pork Belly. And if you're not sure who the winner is, that video will be in a link here, as well as in the video description below. So today we're doing the second head-to-head, but also, guess who's back? Back again.
Franco.
She's my wife. No. She's back again. She did that video, I think it was the Knife Wrap-Up 2021, and I told you I will try to get her back here. Why? Because people like the ladies over me, okay? So here she is. It's not like I forced her. She said something a little bit funny earlier this morning. She said, oh yeah, you know, I'll cut a pomelo with my Takeda Pedi, and I said, cool, now we're gonna make a whole video with it. I think what she really meant is she just wanted to try to supreme it, but now instead, our head-to-head today is two pomelos. This is a honey pomelo, this is a red pomelo. I will be using a 240mm Takamura Gyuto, the Uchigumo no Hana, and Becca will be using?
I think it's a 87mm Takeda Pedi.
Yeah, so that's what you have here, baby. Pomelo head-to-head, 87mm Pedi versus 240mm Gyuto. Now, for those with keen eyes, you probably noticed we have different pomelos. I mean, she already has the smaller knife. Am I really going to? No, okay. I'm a gentleman. Thankfully, in this drawer, because that's where they go, I'll be swapping out the red pomelo for the honey pomelo so that, you know, things are a little bit more leveled on the playing field. And so that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the content. If you do, remember to smash that like button, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And look, we're doing all this because we want to entertain. It's educational, it's entertaining. If you like this video, feel free to share. Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want. Without further ado, what do you say we get into this? All right, Pomelo, Takamura versus Pedi. Let's go. Have fun.
I'd just like to say that I've never cut a pomelo before.
Oh yeah, this is my third time, so by no means an expert. Thank you, actually, that reminds me. So I was gonna say, if you're here watching this video, do not critique us for our quality of cutting. This isn't so much about the quality of pomelo we're gonna be left with at the end. It's just for fun and to see if there's an advantage to using a certain knife over another. Yeah, we'll show you what it looks like at the end, and you can tell us who you think won. Anything else? As our buddy Adam says from, what's that channel?
Beer Meets Food?
Let's get it.
Now, I'm pretty sure I'll have an easier time getting to the flesh of the pomelo. Becca will probably have an easier time supreming of sorts, but again, since this isn't so much about what it's going to look like at the end, I know we won't have the cleanest slices, as long as it's edible. You know, a little bit of pulp around the flesh is no big deal. But I do apologize, Becca, you're right. I didn't realize that you've never even cleaned it once. I'm by no means an expert, but I have done it at least twice. But I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're very talented. You have a great sharp knife. You've already removed the front and the back.
I've never even looked inside one of these.
No? It looks nice, right?
I just get handed the fruit.
Get handed the fruit and say, smile, you're on camera. I gotta tell you, 240mm right now, really rocking the outside of that skin. How about you? How's that 87mm?
I mean, it probably, well, I don't even mind it so much. But I like smaller knives, so that's fine. I mean, you're definitely covering more distance, but this knife is really sharp.
Damn, that sounds like a promotion.
I like this knife.
I like this knife and I promote the use of this knife. Now you guys know me, I'm a big proponent of trying to not waste. And so I rather be a little bit more conservative with cutting the outside as opposed to removing a whole lot of delicious flesh right away and then not really wanting to kind of cut the flesh out of the skin. So that's why you still see a whole lot of rind attached to that beautiful flesh. Plus we all know that Becca's probably going to be a bit slower because of the size of her knife, but it's not about the size of the knife, it's about how you use it, okay? Children. We're making all these quotes from all these other channels. That's from Nigel's channel. Mr. Rice.
Uncle Roger.
Uncle Roger.
Mr. Rice.
Mr. Rice Cooker Review. Ooh, there you go. Now we're getting to the good stuff. I'll probably have some nice background music. How's it going, Becca?
Very good, actually.
Thanks for being in front of the camera. Last time I did this, I believe I used the Funayuki because I said the knife does not need to be that long for it to be effective. And I still stand by that, but I will say the 240 millimeters right now is rocking. Less sawing necessary. Probably unlike the 87 millimeter Takeda Pedi.
Yeah, but the reason I like small knives is I just find them more dexterous. Like it's easier to get the curves.
Yeah. I mean, one can do that with a larger knife, but one must be skilled with a larger knife. And it's also a question of habit. I wouldn't say you're not skilled, you're very much skilled, but you just prefer the shorter knives. They're more comfortable in hand. And so that's kind of what these head-to-heads are all about. You know, it's about partially pushing the limit of what a knife can do. You know, Gyuto, cow sword. Does this look like a piece of cow to you? No, but it does the job. And so I'm not gonna buy a Pomelo Japanese kitchen knife. I don't think it exists. But the point exactly, it's just that. It's use your tools the way you feel like it. Treat them with respect. They'll treat you with respect back. Keep them sharp so that it keeps the performance and the interacting with your knives in a way that's safe. Because a dull knife, trust me, is much more dangerous than a sharp knife. Even if you cut yourself with a sharp knife, it tends to be a cleaner cut, less cellular damage, which means less bleeding. I think I'm just about done wanting to clean the outside. How about you?
Yeah.
There you go, so even about the same time. Now we're gonna get to the inside.
You just cut it in half like an orange kind of?
I think so. Kind of like I asked everyone on TikTok, if anyone has any better ideas how to clean a pomelo. I haven't even watched the video, this is my third time, but I'm treating it, just like Becca said, a giant orange. I mean, it is very similar both in shape and in terms of its cellular components. It's got the flesh, it's got the rind, it's got the pulp. It's just larger, and unlike an orange, the pit and the rind is definitely just, it sticks to the flesh a bit more, so that's why this takes a little bit longer. Otherwise, I can tell you this too, Beck, when you proposed to do a little video, the reason I thought it was an excellent idea is because I knew that I wasn't going to clean the pomelo like rind and pit out in a way that is like the cleanest, because I've had some of the rind on the flesh and it's still delicious, like it's not unedible. It's just maybe visually, of course, if you kind of like supreme this like this and it's just flesh, it looks beautiful. But even if, as I will show in an example, even if you end up with a piece like this, not sure if that'll focus because it's supposed to focus on our eyeballs, but even if you have a piece like this, still super edible, even though it has some of that pit on the outside. And how do I know it's edible? Because you gotta eat your fruit. And the thing is, in this case, when I did the first head-to-head, which, by the way, I don't know what it means for a video to go viral, but that video on my channel is the video with the most views to date, and it's not because it's one of the earlier videos, though it is, but I think it has over 6,000 views, so let's see if that was just a coincidence or if people do like head-to-heads. If they like head-to-heads, do they like head-to-heads when they're ridiculous, like a 240 millimeter versus an 87 millimeter versus a pomelo? Or again, was it just a fluke? Yeah, I'm not gonna clean this much more. It's not as sweet as I'd like, but the cutting job is good. And unlike the first head-to-head, where I used both knives, and I was able to determine which knife I thought was better, I'm not sure how we're gonna determine who wins here, other than probably just determine that we can do it. And that it's just a question of What knife are you comfortable with? There you go. The first two beautiful clean slices. So I'm cutting in between where there would be pittings so that I have less to clean once I've already made my segments. The middle is definitely not the tastiest. I haven't looked over it. This feels like a competition. I haven't even looked over to see how things are going. Oh man, that's awesome. Definitely much cleaner than what I'm doing.
Yeah, see, the difference is why I wanted to use my knife is Frankie will leave this kind of line in here because the skin on that separates all the chunks is really thick and I don't like chewing on it. So I wanted to get it and really clean it up so it's not there. Not a picky eater, but I really don't like when there's hard or tough things and I'm eating something soft.
About texture, right?
Yeah. I'm not a texture eater, it's just that. Especially if you get a bone when you're eating meat and you're not expecting it. Don't like.
Not that this isn't edible, but you'd probably remove all of this, right?
Yeah, well I just split it in half and tried to figure it out.
Whereas I'm like,
Cut
screw it.
Yeah.
Let's hit some seeds. That's the part I noticed last time too. I didn't mind cleaning it, but the seeds in the middle are kind of really annoying, and I'm not sure if I have the best technique. Yeah.
Did you eat those though? I'm pretty sure I ate them when Rob and Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try. These little seeds?
Oh, maybe not those. I haven't seen those yet. I meant I get a little twisty things. No?
I mean, they're small enough that it's not causing any issues. I'm about halfway done. How about you?
No. I'll be a while.
What you're saying is we'll do some post-processing magic. Be like, we finished at the same time. Now see, where I'm cutting in my hands, a paring knife would be more useful than 240 millimeters. Again, that being said, kind of the point of these, it still works. I haven't cut myself. I'm not going to cut myself. Famous last words, maybe. But Becca, I would imagine, in terms of the hand manipulation of the fruit, is probably having an easier time. Plus, she has a super thin blade. I mean, I do too. I think we both have knives that are considered to be lasers, a Takamura and a Takeda.
Today is brought to you by the letter T.
Takeda? Takamura? TNT? Hey, we just
Where
came
we
back
were.
from TNT. For those who don't know, TNT is one of our, I mean, it's not a local only grocery store, but it's our Asian grocery store.
It's an Asian supermarket.
I can tell you, this fruit definitely takes a while to clean properly.
That's what Lindsay was saying.
Lindsay is our neighbor. She's the one who made us try pomelo for the first time. We went on a hike a few weeks ago. Forgot my boots. Hiked 15 kilometers in the snow, through marshes, through forests, with shoes. I've always said I love my Vans Old Schools, but they also have a hole in the heel that goes straight to my sock, which I didn't realize. Yeah, I had, what's the term, pins and needles in my feet for quite a few days after that walk. The point of that story wasn't actually about the shoes. It was that our neighbor had brought pomelo as a fruit to snack on, asked us if we wanted some, and it was our first time. And since then I said, you know what, I really like this. It's kind of like a grapefruit for those of you who don't know. It's less juicy than a grapefruit, but it's also less
Sour.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it sour? Is it tart?
Tart.
Is it astringent? Yeah,
Not astringent. Probably tart.
it's less tart than your average grapefruit. For that reason, I like it because I like grapefruit in the morning, but I'm not a morning person, and so when having grapefruit in the morning and I bite into it and it squirts in my eye, it's not my favorite way to start the day.
Okay, Frankie just opens the fridge, grabs grapefruit, and just does this. It's like I'm ready
Wake
to
up!
go.
Especially when I'm out of espresso, something's gotta wake me up. I don't know about your fruit because we bought them at different grocery stores, but mine seems very dry, drier than the last two.
I'm not a Pomelo expert, so I don't know.
And the way I'm noticing that is I take a look at my cutting board compared to yours, and there's just more flesh scattered throughout. It's looking a little bit more like a murder scene here. As usual, your stuff is a little bit cleaner. We should have maybe even kept the slices on our board so that I can pan the camera over and be like, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to segment though.
Yeah. You're killing it. Alright. Oh yeah. I'm looking at yours. You can tell. It'll be easy peasy. You'll pan it. Thanks for entertaining me and being part of this video for the community. Hopefully both for your entertainment and, you know, a little bit educational. Don't take things too seriously. You might have a Gyuto that's called a cow sword, but you can also cut fruit with it. And if it's the only knife you have and it's too long, you can still cut fruit with it. So don't be part of those elitist groups that will make fun of you for just about anything. You have knives, they're tools, they're meant to be used. And that is not a diss against people who collect. I totally respect people who collect. But for those who use them, they're meant to be used however makes you happy. And you want to cut the sole off your shoe? I'm not going to judge you. I probably don't think it's the best use of your Japanese kitchen knife. But remember, life is short, and if you can't have a little bit of fun, then what's the point? I'm having a blast here with Becca, my wife. Well, that one's from Borat, so far we have Borat. What else do we have?
I don't know.
We had Beer Meets Food reference, Mr. Nigel. Too bad the reference we really need is Mrs. Nigella Lawson, but I don't know what we would do. How would Nigella do this, you think?
She wouldn't.
That's the end of that. She wouldn't. I was trying to think of, yeah, something silly she'd do, like when she had the one chopstick to stir her miso soup. Oh, there you go. I may have won the race. Oh, Becca's actually got quite a bit left. I haven't looked at this. I guess we'll just wait. I'll speed this up. Okay. We will speed this up.
Do you have any tips or tricks for how to hold a Pedi while you're using it in your hand?
That's actually a really good question. Again, this isn't coming from the professional chef in the kitchen standpoint, but I would just say when I'm pairing, right, when I'm using a Pedi, a small Pedi, the pairing way, like the Western way, I just like to choke up to it close to the choil. Like I wouldn't pinch grip a knife in my hand if I need to do some very dexterous and precision type cuts. I like to choke up to it, and what that means is I bring my thumb almost parallel to the spine, kind of like this, and probably my middle finger is closer to the choil.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. And you use your thumb to kind of feed into the blade, which is why a blade like this, if I was trying to pair, right? If I was trying to pair something in my hand, I'm not sure what the technical term is, but if you take a look at the room between my thumb and the blade, there's probably half an inch there. So there's not a whole lot of feeding possibility, whereas with a Pedi, a smaller Pedi or a paring knife, whose belly height is pretty shallow compared to this one, which is I think maybe roughly 15 millimeters. Yeah, it's just a lot easier for you to feed the item into the heel and to the belly of the knife. Very good
Where should
question.
your other hand be? I feel like I'm just like fumbling.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the other hand should be holding the object. Doo-doo-ch. And this is one of those kind of exceptions to the rule where I think it's completely fine to also cut towards you. You know, you always hear people say like, don't cut towards you. When you're pairing, I don't know many people who will grab a lemon, grab their paring knife, and start pairing this way, right? You kind of pair towards you. Why? Because, well, A, you can see what you're feeding into the blade, and at the same time, you just have more control. You have more visuals on it. There is a higher risk of being cut, but you just need to be careful. Now your pomelo slices are looking mighty fine, I will say that. They just look cleaner than mine. We'd almost have to do a taste test.
You know some of mine.
Huh?
I know what yours are gonna be like. You can let me know.
Yeah, you're gonna have the texture.
You're gonna have to pull out the like hard bit in between my
No,
slices.
I just swallow it.
Yeah, see it
So,
all.
Becca's done an excellent job. As you can see, it's almost transparent. It's thin. It's gonna be nothing but juice. Yeah, that's nice. See, here's mine. The thing is, maybe it's because mine just doesn't seem as juicy, or maybe it's the pulp. Yours, yeah, it just tastes better. What are we thinking here in terms of conclusions and summarizing as we're wrapping up?
Here, why don't you use mine? Maybe that'll be easier.
Ooh, excellent idea. Hold on. You use this. There's 4
Oh,
slices.
no, I'll actually cut myself. So
You think so?
I don't like. I have two. I have a 165 Nikiri and a 165 millimeter Sentoku, and I use those ones. And then I have a 210 Gyuto, which I never use because it's too long.
Oh yeah. In hand, this is golden. I think probably the point of this video is going to be, was there a clear winner? I'm gonna go with no. If it's a question of timing, sure, the Takamura is gonna be faster. Why? Because you have more length to work with. But for those of you, this is small, but it works. For those of you that have more than one knives?
More than one knife.
Yeah. For those of you who have more than one knife, clearly, as I can already tell, now that Becca and I have swapped places and knives, is that I think the answer is just to have 2 knives. You start with the longer blade. I mean, I know most of you are being like, yeah, like no beep, Frankie, like that was obvious. It's not the point of obvious, it's the point of doing it so that we can actually have conclusions with evidence. But yeah, I was gonna say Takamura, this Takeda is freaking fantastic on the smaller slices. Maybe it's, what do you want me to do with that?
This is what I wanted to do to begin with.
What? You're changing things up on me? This isn't part of the program? I actually don't know. Oh, go ahead.
Special guest appearance.
The Tinker Tank with the brand new handle from Josh at Let's Handle This. If you haven't seen that video, also in the link here.
Just to get started.
Are we cleaning that pommel too?
I wanted to use the tank. Also, yes, because this one looks like it's going bad.
Oh, that's the red one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Pedi is making easy work of cleaning. I don't imagine that it was probably more of a struggle than with my knife to get to this point. But now that you're at this point, yeah, sure. You know, I'm as much as I love my Takamura, I would 100% grab a smaller knife and just go to town. Freaking awesome. Well, you know what? Let's not keep the people here longer than they need to be. How about you come here for one last guest appearance? We'll send people on their way home. I think we gave them some conclusions. We'll continue cutting this, but my conclusion, and you know, Becca, if you want to speak differently, you can, is that there isn't a clear winner. If it was about time, I might have been ever so slightly faster. I used that one, and I use this one now, so I can say that I think the appropriate way to clean pomelo is with 2 knives, or maybe something in between. When I cleaned it with the Shindo Funayuki, it was a lot of fun, but still, once I got to cleaning individual slices, even at 165, that Funayuki was too long. So, now before we get into the segment where we do the outro, something I did want to mention is what you may have realized or may not have realized is that we're both using knives that are at the very least stainless clad. Hers is Aogomi Super stainless clad. Mine is just stainless. It's R2 steel. And something you probably didn't notice us doing is wiping our blades frequently. probably a perk to have a stainless knife fully or stainless clad knife, because fruit is typically very acidic and can lead to a patina that's quick forming, but also, if not taken care of in the appropriate way, rust, which we don't want. And so Becca did wipe her knife down before putting it down on the cutting board. But yeah, that's basically it. If you can, use a stainless knife, especially if you're gonna be using two knives, right? So I did say that the conclusion is a long knife and a short knife is probably the way to go with Pomelo. The long knife to just more quickly remove the outer skin, and then the short knife for the paring action. If you're gonna be using two knives, that first knife needs to be bone dry before you set it down, so why not go stainless? This is one of those cases where I think stainless shines. That's it. I'm gonna snap my fingers and we're going into the outro segment. Oh, this is the part. I'm gonna say thanks for watching. See you next time. Take your knife and put it in the video. Shh. Okay, grab your knife.
Wait, so what do you think? I just have to hold it?
When I say thanks for watching, see you next time, get it right. That's the outro.
Okay.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this head-to-head of a 240mm Takamura Gyuto versus a Takeda 87mm Pedi versus a Pomelo. And until then, see you next time. We're funny.
Fun.